A hoop rolls down a 4.75 meter hill without slipping. What is the final speed of the hoop in meters per second? So we're not given a lot of information on velocities or anything like that. That's a really good indication that we are going to be using rotational kinetic energy. All right, so let's break this down. The best way to think about rotational kinetic energy is in terms of the conservation of energy. The initial energy equals the final energy in a system. And so our system is this hoop. So let's think about what it's doing initially and finally. Initially, the hoop is rolling down a hill. And the hill is 4.75 meters tall. Thus, if we're given this information, we know that the hoop is starting out up here. And thus, if we take a look, it's got gravitational potential energy, and that's about it. So, it has initial gravitational potential energy. What is that going to equal? The hoop is rolling without slipping down the hill. So if we take a look at rolling without slipping, it's a special case of rolling where we have both angular velocity, represented by omega, as well as translational velocity, represented just by a v. And so we need to account for the translational kinetic energy as well as the rotational kinetic energy whenever we see rolling without slipping, and we're trying to model it with rotational kinetic energy. So the final energy is going to be equal to the translational kinetic energy of the hoop plus the rotational kinetic energy of the hoop. And so these are both in its final form. So we can break these up further into their components to solve for the final speed of the hoop. So we have gravitational potential energy. We know that to be mgh. That's going to equal the translational kinetic energy, and you're probably pretty familiar with this. That's 1/2 mv squared, and this is the final velocity, the one that we're looking for, plus the rotational kinetic energy. And rotational kinetic energy, the formula for rotational kinetic energy most generally is 1/2 times the moment of inertia times the angular velocity. There's a couple other ways that you can write it when you shift the variables around, but this is going to be most useful to us to use it in this case. So we have 1/2 times the moment of inertia, and the moment of inertia that we're looking for is the moment of inertia of a hoop, because that's the object that we have. Finally, we just add omega there. And so this is the basic setup that we need. However, we know that we have to solve for the final velocity, and we have no clue what this omega value is. So let's take a look and split this up further. We can split up omega, if we remember. Velocity equals omega times the radius. And so if we're squaring that quantity, omega squared and the radius squared. Thus, if we're solving for omega, we just divide by r squared here, divide by r squared here, and we ultimately get omega squared equals the final velocity squared over the radius squared. So let's take that into account and substitute that value in. We also are going to want to substitute the value for the moment of inertia of a hoop. And this doesn't change for any hoop. This is for all hoops. The moment of inertia of a hoop is simply mr squared. So let's sub in all these values here. We have mgh equals 1 half mv squared plus 1 half, let's substitute our value for the moment of inertia in here, mr squared, times, let's substitute our value for the angular velocity in here, v final squared over r squared. And so now if we take a look, we can actually cancel out a few things. This is multiplying by r squared. This is dividing by r squared. This is an entire term because everything's being multiplied. So we can cancel out the r squareds. It's good because we didn't have a radius in the original problem. Next, if we take a look, each term has a mass in it. And so the mass is actually irrelevant. If we divided by m on each side, everything would cancel out perfectly. And thus, you're left with GH equals 1 half V final squared plus 1 half V final squared. And if we multiplied each side of this equation by 2, multiply by 2 here, multiply by 2, we're doing it by both sides, nothing changes. We're going to get 2GH equals V final squared plus V final squared. We effectively cancel this out. And so now, if we just bring this all together, we have 2GH equals 2V final squared. And if we divide it by 2, cancel those 2's out, and squared this, actually, let's just do this step by step. Divide by 2, V final squared. Square this to get rid of the square root here. We have the square root of GH equals the final velocity. And so what's G? G is a gravitational acceleration. So it's going to be 9.81 meters per second squared. And we're multiplying that by the height. And we're given the height in the original problem. It's 4.75 meters. Times 4.75 meters. And that's all under the square root. And when you calculate that out, you get a final velocity of 6.83 meters per second. So let's recap. When approaching a problem like this, if you're not giving a lot of information, you generally want to start thinking about using the conservation of energy. And when you have some variables that you're not exactly sure what to do with, always remember that you can break variables into their components, and oftentimes it helps you cancel things out.